David and Goliath. The courage born from faith. There was a time when the people of Israel lived surrounded by constant challenges and threats. Neighboring nations fought over land, power, and control, and among those nations were the Philistines, known for their military strength and feared warriors. During one of these tense periods, the armies of Israel and the Philistines faced each other in a wide valley, where the fate of many would be decided. On one side stood the soldiers of Israel, led by King Saul. They were experienced men, trained for war, but at that moment fear hovered over the camp. On the other side were Philistines, confident and provoking, waiting for the right moment to advance. For 40 days, morning and evening, a Philistine warrior would step out from the enemy lines and challenge Israel. His name was Goliath. He was gigantic, with a height that impressed anyone who saw him. He wore heavy bronze armor, a shining helmet, and carried a huge spear that seemed impossible for an ordinary man to lift. Goliath walked to the middle of the valley and shouted to the army of Israel, "Choose a man to fight me. If he defeats me, we will be your servants. But if I defeat him, you will be our servants." His words echoed through the valley and struck the hearts of the Israelite soldiers. No one moved. No one accepted the challenge. Fear grew each day, and so did the shame. Meanwhile, far from there, in a small town called Bethlehem, lived a young shepherd named David. He was the youngest son of Jesse and spent his days taking care of his family's sheep. David was not a trained soldier or a famous warrior. He was just a simple young man, but he had something very special within him, a deep faith in God. David spent long hours in the fields, watching the sky, playing his harp, and talking with God. He had already faced danger while protecting his sheep. Lions and bears had tried to attack the flock, and with courage and trust, he faced them and saved the animals. For David, God was present in every moment of life. One day, Jesse called David and said, "Take food to your brothers who are on the battlefield and see how they are doing." David's older brothers were in the army of Israel, ready to fight the Philistines. David obeyed and left early in the morning, carrying bread, grain, and cheese to deliver. When he arrived at the camp of Israel, David noticed that there was great tension in the air. The soldiers looked worried, and everyone was talking about the same thing, the giant Goliath. Suddenly, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed through the valley. Goliath appeared again, walking with confidence. His voice thundered, "Israel, haven't you chosen someone to fight me yet?" David heard those words and was indignant. He asked the soldiers around him, "Who is this man to defy the army of the living God?" Some soldiers answered, explaining that Goliath was a powerful warrior and that no one had the courage to face him. They also said that King Saul had promised great rewards to whoever defeated the giant. But for David, it was not about reward. It was something greater. He believed that God was with Israel. When David's brothers heard that he was talking about fighting Goliath, they became angry. They said he was too young and that he should go back home and take care of the sheep. But David was not discouraged. His words began to spread throughout the camp until they reached King Saul. Curious, the king sent for the young man. When David came before the king, he spoke with confidence. "Do not let anyone lose heart because of this giant. I will fight him." Saul looked at David with surprise. He was just a boy, while Goliath had been a warrior since his youth. "You cannot fight this Philistine," said the king. "You are too young." But David replied, "I used to take care of my father's sheep. When a lion or a bear came to attack the flock, I faced it and rescued the sheep. God delivered me from the claws of the lion and the bear, and he will also deliver me from this giant." David's words were full of faith and conviction. Saul realized that there was something different about that young man, so he allowed him to go and fight. Before that, however, he offered his own armor for David to wear. David tried to put on the king's armor, but it was too heavy and prevented him from moving freely. Then he said, "I cannot fight like this." David removed the armor and decided to go as he was used to. He took a shepherd's staff, chose 5 smooth stones from a stream, and placed them in his bag. In his hand was his sling, a simple weapon he used to protect the sheep. As David walked toward the valley, many soldiers watched in amazement. Some thought it was madness. Others began to feel a small spark of hope. Goliath saw the young man approaching and began to laugh. "Am I a dog that you come against me with sticks?" The giant mocked. He despised David because of his simple appearance. But David answered with courage, "You come against me with sword, spear, and shield. But I come against you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, whom you have defied." Silence filled the valley. David continued, "Today the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and everyone will know that there is a God in Israel." Goliath advanced in anger, ready to crush the young shepherd. But David ran toward the giant. He placed a stone in his sling, swung it skillfully, and released it with precision. The stone flew through the air and struck Goliath right in the middle of his forehead. The giant stopped for a moment, and then he fell. The ground shook with the impact. The most feared warrior of the Philistines had been defeated by a young shepherd armed only with faith and courage. For a moment, everything was silent. Then the army of Israel realized what had happened. A shout of victory echoed through the valley. The Philistines, terrified, began to flee, and the soldiers of Israel advanced with renewed courage. The victory was not only military, it was a victory of faith. David showed that true strength does not come from size, armor, or weapons, but from trust in God. After that day, David's name became known throughout Israel. People talked about the young man who faced a giant and won. But for David, that victory had an even deeper meaning. He knew that God had been with him the entire time. The story of David and Goliath began to be told from generation to generation. Parents told it to their children. Leaders reminded the people, and everyone learned a great lesson. No giant is greater than true faith. Over time, David continued his journey. He faced new challenges, new battles, and great responsibilities. But that moment in the valley was never forgotten. It was proof that God can use ordinary people to accomplish extraordinary things. Many years later, when people talked about courage, they remembered that young shepherd with a sling in his hand and unshakable faith in his heart. And so, the story of David and Goliath became an eternal symbol of hope, a reminder that even when challenges seem enormous, faith can turn the impossible into victory. And even today, when someone faces a great problem, many say, "This is just another Goliath," because the true battle is not against giants of flesh and bone, but against fear, doubt, and lack of confidence. David teaches us that when someone walks with faith, even the most frightening giants can fall. And this message continues to live on, inspiring millions of people around the world to believe that with God, no battle is lost.